I am Sandi Timmins. I'm the Executive Director of House of Ruth, Maryland. House of Ruth, Maryland is a nonprofit organization that serves Baltimore City and several of the surrounding counties to provide two things. One, direct services to people who are victims of intimate partner violence. And the second part of our work is to confront the attitudes, the behaviors, and the systems that allow that abuse to continue. We believe that it is as important for everybody to know about the dynamics of the issue as it is the people who are directly affected. Because the statistic says that 1 in 4, I'm going to speak just now of women, but the statistics stretch across other profiles as well. But 1 in 4 women at some point in her life will be a victim of physical violence in an intimate relationship, either current or prior. That's a stunning number, which means that every single one of us, even if we don't know it, is exposed or knows somebody who has been exposed to it. So for everyone to understand what to look for and how to react, how to respond to what they're seeing is critical, because community support is what our clients are, the people that we serve, need. So our website has links to that kind of information as well, how to educate yourself and prepare yourself should you be in a position to be supportive of somebody who is in this situation. The work that we do of serving victims of intimate partner violence and confronting all of those things that allow it to continue is tightly connected to many other things and many other issues in the city. It being intimate partner violence is so very clearly a public health issue. It is a public health issue. And for many years, we have approached our relationships in the community and our structure of the services that we provide with that framework, with the understanding that we absolutely, if we at House of Ruth are going to make the kind of progress that we want to make, both in direct services and in confronting and stopping the issue whenever we can, we must work collaboratively with others who are doing work that focuses on other aspects of this larger public health issue. And so we are aggressive in reaching out to the community and to other organizations. We are passionate about building relationships with research organizations, direct services organizations, police and other political organizations that all come together to manage their pieces of this issue. And so it shapes our strategy completely. The pandemic had, just like with everybody else, a very strong effect on our work. There were pieces of our organization that had to continue. Our emergency shelter didn't skip a beat. And so those people were on site and serving our clients without any interruption. Other services, counseling, legal, we had to shut down. The only area we had to shut down was childcare. And so we did have to shut that down for a period of time. But the rest, we were the services, hotline, outreach to the community, all of those, we were able to pivot quickly to be able to do those services remotely. We had an interesting situation where people who would normally reach out to us in the quiet times of their lives when their abuser was not around, while they were dropping kids off at school or in the car in the grocery store parking lot, when they had some space away from the abuser, those calls to the hotline dropped. And in some geographic areas, it dropped as much as 50%. And we were terrified of the fact that we had people who needed us out in the community and couldn't reach us because being locked down with the person who is abusing them meant that there was no way to make a phone call. Luckily, we had researched what technology would be required in order to add a chat feature, which would be a silent communication, of course, with us. And it's not just a normal chat feature like you would see on any traditional website. We needed to have all kinds of security measures in place. It had to comply with HIPAA requirements. And luckily we had that research, and we could reach out to people to fund us to put it into place. And we had generous funders who did that immediately. We put it into place as quickly as we possibly could. And thankfully, we saw the combined numbers of calls and now the chat session rise to the place where we had expected it to be. So now we have a feature that not only did it help us during the intense times of COVID, the benefit is that now we also have that as an additional way for people to reach us. And I'll just add to that, similarly in our counseling services, COVID pushed us to put into place telehealth. Our counselors, again, we knew that we needed to pay attention to the technology that was out there and available, which would allow us to serve our counseling clients remotely via telehealth. But our counselors, understandably, were not ready to jump all over that. They were very clear that the best kind of communication happens face to face. And they were a bit reluctant to make this a big new path. Well, again, COVID forced us to put that technology in place. Again, we were ready because we had done the work ahead of time. We put it into place because it was the only way we could stay connected to our clinical clients. And again, on the other side of it, we now have another piece of technology that does allow us to reach people who maybe have transportation issues, scheduling issues, and other issues. So it's another path for folks to reach us. So while the time of COVID was hard, we were frightened for some of the people that we serve. What it brought forward was acceptance and of new technology, both for us and for our clients, and other paths for people to reach us and allow us to serve them. What keeps the organization going, I think, is the same thing that keeps me as the executive director going. And that is, in spite of the barriers, we are able to help people who may not have other resources for help. And for every situation that we struggle with, we are able to point to clients who have found a way to independence. And also we work with people who abuse and help them to understand how it is they got to that place and how to shift their thinking, shift their belief system, rethink the way that they form intimate relationships. And for every awful situation, we can point to many who complete our abuse intervention program, who have come through and now are able to form healthy relationships. So those are the things that fuel our passion and energy to continue forward, all of us. I would like our legacy to be that we have become a model for how intimate partner violence can be viewed as a public health issue. I am passionate, and my team is equally passionate around the notion that we cannot do this work alone. It's not possible to do this work alone, both in providing direct services and in moving the belief systems and the attitudes and the systems that are those barriers. We can't do it alone. It has to be viewed as a public health issue and approached in the community as a public health issue. And my passion is to have the House of Ruth legacy be that we have demonstrated how to do that. If we can create a model here in Baltimore for how to do that for other organizations within Baltimore and for organizations outside of Baltimore, that would be the best. The city of Baltimore needs a boost right now because we don't have enough people working together. There are single issues that are being approached as single issues, and it's important that they be approached with the kind of focus and intensity that many are doing. But the boost, I believe, needs to come from additional funding that acknowledges that there are impacts that need to be considered together, whether it's gun violence. Our issue includes gun violence. Homelessness and housing is not a separate issue. It affects our clients as well. As another example, sexual assault is not a standalone issue. It affects us, and so we need to embrace it as well. The boost, I believe, is needed in bringing more of the issues together and a collaborative approach that includes the funding for that collaboration to happen, and with a spirit, if you will, of moving these things forward together. If we can come out of our silos a bit more and figure out how to use those funds and use those connections to move forward together, that's the boost we need. We need the resources and the focus and the education and the messaging. Messaging, of course, comes first. That would allow all of that to happen.